Well, welcome in once again, everybody, to another edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers. Want to wish all of you a very happy St. Patty's Day. And before I get tons of emails and calls and beat up and stuff, yes, I have no green on. Number one, I forgot. Number two, I'm really not Irish, so I don't have to walk around pretend. But when I do get home from the studio, I will have I'll have some alcoholic beverages to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. But we hope everybody out there who has a great time. And whenever you do, be careful. Don't drink and drive, that type of thing. Because the leprechauns will get you. I guarantee you that. Anyway, weather here in Las Vegas, as I mentioned every week, has been it's been good. I played golf yesterday. It was blown a little bit to the point where we say it was challenging, but you got to do that every once in a while. And if you live here in Southern Nevada in Clark County in Las Vegas, when springtime is upon us almost, you get some wind. So if you don't like wind, my friend, you're not going to be playing golf until the summertime. And I like the summertime, as you know, because everybody that knows me knows I love heat. So it can't get as hot as it can be. I just absolutely love it. Anyway, great tournament last week with the players. We hope you had a chance to catch it. Congratulations to Cameron Smith. Really good player. Guy really knows how to golf his ball. Short game, superb. Great win for him. It was a good tournament. It's a great venue. And we are going to ask our guest about it today. We have a very special guest, interesting guy. I'm sure that if you've been playing golf, listening to golf radio for any length of time, you have heard of this gentleman. He's quite interesting. Let me tell you a little bit about him. Mark Lye is a veteran of the PGA Tour. He's also played on the Australian PGA Tour and the PGA Tour Champions. Mark has 3 professional wins. After an injury to his right wrist, Mark signed on with the Golf Channel in 1994. I believe he has the network's analyst for 18 years, covering the PGA Tour, Champions Tour, and the relatively new Korn Ferry Tour, as well as golf's major championships. In 2015, Mark joined Sirius XM with his own show, and you probably have heard of it, listened to it, called Time to Let It Fly. Mark was with Sirius XM for 7 years before being released just a couple of months ago, and we'll get into all of that good stuff. But right now, let me welcome Mr. Mark Lye, and I was really looking forward to having you on the show, Mark, because I've been following you for a long time. I followed you when you were playing competitive golf. I think you're a hell of a broadcaster because we have kind of a symbiotic thing, and I have admired what you've done in your career, Mark. So we're happy to have you on the show, buddy.
Thanks. It's been a while. I hope to get my voice back. I think I hit my 1 month anniversary from being let go at Sirius XM, but I did go to the Players Championship last week, and you're right. I mean, Cameron Smith, wow, what a putting exhibition this guy put on.
Yeah.
I mean, it was incredible what this guy did, and he only wins by a shot. So if any of those putts hadn't gone in, who knows? It could have been Anirban Lahiri winning. But no, it was a brutal week for these guys.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a great show of strength on the greens for
it really was. And Mark, let me ask you this: as long as we're talking about the players, a lot of people, and you know this, I'm sure you've discussed it, categorize the players as the fifth major championship. I personally do not. What's your feeling about that?
It's its own entity, I think. I think it is the toughest tournament on the tour to win because I think it's the deepest field.
Yeah.
I mean, the U.S. Open has the qualifiers, and I was one for 9 times, and I wasn't that great of a player, but you had guys that slipped into the U.S. Open, you have guys that slip into the Masters. There are a lot of amateurs, and there's only anywhere from 80 to 95 players. The Open Championship has its own deal. You know, it's worldwide players, and you haven't heard of a lot of the players that qualify
Right.
for that, but
Right.
guarantee you've heard of everybody playing at the Players
That's
Championship from
that's
all around the world.
that's very true. That's very true. And you got to love that 17th hole. I remember the first time I played there,
Ooh.
it was I said, "Who designed this course?" It must have been Jacques Cousteau. There's so much damn water on this thing. It was incredible. Mark, let's start from the beginning. Who or what got you into the game of golf, number one? And were you always thinking of it as a profession somewhere in the back of your mind?
Well, I was hoping because, those of you that followed me knew that I wasn't a real winner. I got the most out of my game that I possibly could. When I went to college, it was a huge, kind of a wake up because now I'm playing against guys like Curtis Strange and Jay Haas and Andy Bean and
Yeah.
Keith Fergus and all these great players. And I said, can I measure up to these guys? Well, I did measure up to them in college, but the professional game is very much different. So the first 4 or 5 years, I really struggled, even though I never lost my playing privileges or praying privileges because
I like
it was a wing and a prayer that got me
Yeah.
out there. Let me tell you, it was very tough to survive out there, not only financially, but back then it was the top 60 for the first 4 years I was
Yeah.
on the tour.
Yeah.
And so Mondays were not a fun day
Yeah.
to try and qualify for tournaments. But because of guys like Gary McCord and some other very influential guys out there, McCord was on the board. He said, hey, this top 60's got to go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it became the top 125. But no, it was a great life. And I reflect back on it as I have been announcing for Golf Channel. That was best times of my life, and even Sirius XM. I mean, I don't really remember the golf as much as I remember the team.
Yeah.
The team behind us. Keith Hirschland and Carl Schlickspear and Pete Esposito, and all these guys that are behind the cameras, and that's what I loved about Sirius XM.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed like there were a lot of old Golf Channel guys working there, and I felt very comfortable working for them. But I've been a blessed guy playing all over the world in this game, and then being able to televise and talk
Yeah.
about the game that I
Absolutely.
still love. I mean, I play every day. My kids are playing a lot, and I just love it.
That's great. Real quickly, why San Jose State?
I tell this story a lot. I played with the head coach. I come from Johnny Miller country,
Okay.
okay, and that's out San Francisco, West
Right.
Coast type
Right.
of thing. I grew up in Napa, and I took lessons from Johnny's teacher. His name was John Geertsen Sr. Wonderful man. He was in his late 70s when I started taking lessons from him, and he introduced me to the coach at Brigham Young University. Now, I applied for entrance into Brigham Young and also Arizona State. And when I played with the coach from Brigham Young, I guess he was not impressed because he didn't offer me a dime, and neither did the guy from Arizona State.
Wow.
So I went to the school that I felt was going to be okay. Ken Venturi went there, and
Right.
I was a teammate with Roger Maltby, but it wasn't a real golf mecca.
Yeah.
But it was a place where I felt like I might fit in, and so I got a full ride there, which was basically added up to about $200 a quarter, or 500 bucks a semester, and that was a full ride. But I did really rub it into those coaches at Brigham Young,
Good for you.
and the guy Bill Mann from Arizona State,
Good for
because
you.
I was one of the top 6 in college.
Yeah.
The first team All-American was top 10 players, and then they had a coaches All-American or a Golf World All-American that were only 6 players in the country. So again, the transition was pretty tough. It took me 3 times to get my card, so that's why I played in Australia and in Europe, and enjoyed my time there. I wouldn't have traded a day of
Oh, I
it
bet.
at all. I met Greg Norman down under, and I said, "Wow, that guy's I hope he never learns how to play golf. I was
Yeah.
saying back then, because
Oh,
we're in big
yeah.
trouble.
Speaking of Australia, I had a good friend of mine in town. We had dinner last night. He owns a used golf ball company called breakfastballs.golf. It's fantastic. And we went to Outback Steakhouse. So I was kind of saying, oh, Mark's going to be on the show tomorrow. And, we're going to talk about the Australian tour and all that. Anyway, Mark, since you first went out on tour, what's the biggest difference you see in the game? Is it the venues? Is it the equipment? Is it the attitude of players? Is it the I don't know, the vans, the entourage that these guys have now? What's been the biggest change in your mind?
Well, I think back in those days, you didn't have the financial wherewithal to be hiring people and staff and things like that. And now when I go to a tour event, of course, the money is so big
Yeah.
that they can afford to hire people. But get this, my first year in 1977, okay, on the PGA Tour, I made $22,000. And you know what that ranked me? 100th on the money list, one ahead of the king, Arnold Palmer.
No kidding.
That's it. So it just gives you an idea of the challenge financially that we
Wow.
had in the 70s and the 80s. Now I see the game, because the game has gone so far in our culture. It's cool to play golf now. It really wasn't way back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had to be a golf freak to really know. I mean, I watched the CBS Golf Classic. I watched
Mm-hmm.
the old Shell's Wonderful World of Golf, and
Mm-hmm.
I said, man, I don't care what the money is. I just want to be one of those guys. I love the game so much. But now I think it's so different, where it's a team effort by these guys. I mean, you look at Jordan Spieth. My team says this, and Justin Thomas, my team says this.
Right.
Back then, there were no teams. It was
Yeah.
you and your caddy and maybe
Right.
your wife.
Right.
But it's all good. It's all good. And people always say, "Man, don't you wish you played now rather than then?" I said, "No, man. I enjoyed the game back then as much as I possibly could, and that's why I
Yep.
played in 35 events a year in my 18 years on the tour. I just
Yep.
loved it."
Yeah.
And
No.
the money was just basically a way to get from one week to the next, and hopefully put a little bit away, and really have a great life. And I just love to travel ever since I was 16 years old and got my first car.
Did you meet your beautiful wife, Lisa, at a golf tournament? How'd you guys meet up?
I met her at the Golf Channel.
Ah,
I met her
okay.
at
I
the
knew it
Golf
had
Channel.
something to do with golf. Okay.
Yeah, it did. We both went to work there in late 1994, because that's when we were doing our I guess our reconnaissance. Everybody had to learn how to do their job because nobody knew how to do it. But Lisa had worked for, I think, Sunshine Sports, and her friend was the PR person, and Lisa, did PR there. And it's a small little group in there that worked at Golf Channel, and we dated for 3 or 4 years, got married, and we've had a great life. Just on Monday, we went through our 23rd year.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah,
That's awesome.
she's good. Yeah,
Congratulations. Last
thank you.
question before we take our first break. You've had lots and lots of opportunities to play with amateur golfers, Mark. First, do you think weekend players can get overloaded with too much information? And what's the biggest difference in your mind between elite players and weekend players? Is it more swing mechanics, or you think it's more the mental game and course management?
Well, that's a great question, but I believe in mechanics, there's a lot of mental stuff as well. And I think it's basically club face control. You have to know where the club face is: chipping, putting, driving, wedging, doing everything. And so some guys have just a knack, like Orville Moody and Tom Pertzer and Steve Elkington and
Yeah, yeah,
Greg Norman. They just know where the club face is. Okay. The amateur player has no idea what causes a slice. Well, it's just a physical thing that causes a slice. So I think you need to know about path, and you need to know about club head rotation. The guys who rotate the club less are the guys that are the most consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And I just compare a guy like Ricky Fowler. You know, Ricky Fowler has a tremendous face rotation. He can hit it off the world every once in a while,
Yeah.
and still
Yeah.
does,
Yeah.
unfortunately. He's one of my favorite players out there. Jordan Spieth, the same way. But then there are other guys that just basically deliver it to the ball. They have an understanding. You know, it shouldn't take you that long to figure it out. When Jordan said, I need to, figure this out for like 3 years, I'm thinking, what the hell has he been doing? I mean, and Elkington is my old roommate from the early tour days.
Elk is
And
a great guy.
He's a great swinger. He says loft. He calls me loft. Lack of effing talent. I'll let you fill in the blanks. He says lofty. He says these guys, they just don't know how to fade the ball. They don't know how to work the ball. And I said, you're right, Elk. That's why you're beating them when you're 45 years old.
Yeah.
That's why you're still playing well, because you understand the game. I think right now it's just too much power and too much, grabbing the biggest sucker in the candy store.
Yeah.
They're going for the distance.
Yeah, no
they're
doubt.
not playing the game as it was meant to be played, which
Right.
is finesse.
Yep.
And guys like Bryson DeChambeau, he's making monkeys out of all of us when he wins at Winged Foot. The way he plays.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
okay, so I guess that method does work, but that's not the way I think the longevity will get you for guys like Elkington, Tom Weiskopf.
That's well said, and I could not agree more, Mark. All right, I tell you what, we're going to step away, take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to have a lot more with our very special guest, Mr. Mark Lye. So right now, get ready for Janice Thornton and Tee It Up with JT. Here it is.
Want to get stronger, more flexible, fit into your clothes more easily, or even hit your drives 15 yards longer? I've created a series of fast and effective programs that combine mobility, strength, and Pilates that you can do in your home or in a gym a few times a week to achieve your goals. Hi, I'm Janice Thornton, and I'm a certified online personal trainer with JT Fitness and Golf. I can help you get motivated and feel healthier in just a few weeks. Whether it's beating your buddies at golf, getting longer off the tee, or wearing that favorite dress again, I can help you reach your goals. Imagine being able to take a break from your busy day, walk into your workout space, and have an online personal trainer waiting for you. The variety of workouts will motivate you. Your training experience should not be mundane and boring. It should be something you look forward to and results driven. See the results and be the results. Let's connect today. You can email, text, or call, or set up an appointment through my calendar. What are you waiting for? Get JT Fit today.
Are you an E or a C?
Both have Ridgeback.
These are loaded with tech.
Which one are you gaming? Definitely E for me.
It's just so forgiving.
I'm definitely an E.
C is for Cheka. What else?
C is for kill it.
C is me. Low spinning bombs.
So, are you an E or a C?
I don't know. Hey, wait a minute.
Pound for pound, nothing comes close.
When I first learned about Encore, I was a little taken back because I didn't know much about the ball. I went out and played a couple rounds with it, and I was just extremely surprised how this ball made up for what I was looking for in a golf ball 20 years ago. It's a very straight ball. It launches a little higher than other balls that I've used, which is ideal for the tour because we're playing firm and fast greens. A lot of the balls do fly very similar, but this ball reacts so much differently around the greens and inside 100 yards than any other ball I've ever played. The combination of this ball is the best ball that I've ever played.
Played golf yesterday with a gentleman by the name of Kerry DeCesar, who is a master club fitter, works for Tour Edge Golf. Great line of golf clubs for the price. We're going to have a screenshot of him pretty soon with his information, so you could call, check out all the new equipment, get fitted. It's going to be absolutely awesome. We had a great day yesterday. Anyway, back with our special guest, Mr. Mark Lye. And Mark, let me ask you this: toughest tournament course you've ever played?
Ooh, well, I didn't play. Well, I didn't play in two of the toughest ones, and because I didn't really know that much about them until I became an announcer. But Bethpage Black came to mind, and the other one is Oakland Hills.
Oakland Hills.
Those two were just beasts. And I've played them both now, but thankfully not during my days on the PGA Tour. During my days on the PGA Tour, I would say that, in the late 70s, early 80s, Jack's course was as hard as it got.
Really?
Now, of course, they're beating it up because they're hitting it so much further. It's a totally different golf course. But then again, there's Augusta National, which is my all-time favorite of any course that I've played, professionally or fun-wise.
Yeah, and that's a good one. Do you think now? Of course, it's going in a different direction with all the people I talk to. But do you think length is even comes into play for these guys, Mark? I mean, I could build a course 8,000 plus yards. It'll slow these guys down. I don't think it will, Mark.
I think there is a limit right now when we go to like Bethpage Black. And basically I did a show called Time to Let It Fly. It was probably the easiest pick in the world because I picked Brooks Koepka and I also picked Dustin Johnson. Well, they finished 1 and 2. Just because if you didn't have distance that week, don't even tee it up.
Yeah.
Just don't. And I hate to see it come to that for a major championship. Although some opens, they mix it up. It's at a tough course, a long course, and it might be at a short course, like an Olympic Club, like Pebble Beach. So that's why I like mixing it up a little bit. I think the golf game, most people think is becoming more one way, just power or don't even show up.
Right.
But there are enough golf courses out there where you don't really need as much distance. At Phoenix, for example, Pebble Beach.
True.
You don't even need it at Spyglass anymore. You used to really need it. Riviera. Now, the San Diego Open, of course, Farmers, you've got to have it. Yeah. But, if you don't hit it long, don't show up. I mean, at a course where you really need that. Like Zach Johnson, he basically called out of winning a lot of tournaments. I mean, he honestly is, but he won 2 tournaments that are known big ball hitters pars.
Yeah.
He won the Masters.
Yeah. Never
went for a par 5. Up and down it like nobody's business.
Yeah.
And he won again at the old course at St. Andrews.
Yeah.
So I got to think, well, if he did it and if Jim Furyk can do it, why can't everyone do it? Yeah. But it is becoming a little bit redundant when, these courses say, we're playing it at 7,600 yards, and now we're getting to be, in the realm of unbelievability. I mean, even the Players Club now.
Yeah.
The player, we just watched it last week. I mean, 11, nobody used to go for that green and 2.
Yeah.
Nobody. Number 9,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Now they're all hitting it there. So it's like, wow, where does the game go?
Exactly.
They can't possibly make it any longer. But so I wish that the USGA had come out in the perfect world against these combinations of the ball and the club face and the shaft and the coefficient of restitution, the bounce back effect. Now they're allowing it in irons and not allowing it in woods. But I think it is getting to the point of unbelievability when I'm seeing these guys hitting 8 irons 200 yards.
It's just not right. I remember when I was invited to play the Ocean course at Kiowa Island, Mark, and I had Pete Dye on the week before. and
Yeah.
we were talking about it. He says, I said, Pete, you designed the damn thing. What's your piece of advice to me? How should I play this? He says, I got one word of advice, Dennis. Don't play it from the tips. It's 8,000 yards or something. Oh, Pete, trust me, you don't have to worry about that. But what's the hardest part about being a broadcaster, Mark? And how do you separate a good broadcaster from a great broadcaster?
I think you have to really challenge yourself to not show favorites. And I think it's like the news these days. They're either left or they're right. There's nobody in between. And, I just think, it's okay to root for people, but not to outspokenly root for people and not root against people. And I feel like you have to put yourself in their shoes. As a former player for a lot of years, I look at Patrick Reed and I think of what he does is flat amazing. Okay? Because number one, you know what it's like when everybody hates you.
Right.
Okay? To be able to play like that, I'm sorry, even as an announcer and a former player, and I have a lot of reverence for a guy like Patrick Reed that can display that kind of talent against all odds.
Yeah.
And I have to flat love what the guy does. I don't love the guy, but my buddy Bruce Murray, who I was on Time to Let It Fly with for 7 years, what do you like this guy? He's a cheater. You don't. I said, look, forget about it. What this guy has done, how this guy won the Masters. You don't want him on your Ryder Cup team. Something must be wrong with you because the guy's got stones bigger than watermelons.
Yeah, I agree.
He just has it. So, look, you may love or not love Greg Norman, but what he did in his life, man, it was some great things. He didn't win as many as he should have won, but what he did, he commanded the golf world for years.
Yeah.
So did Tom Watson. So did Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah.
So did, Tiger and VJ even. I just admire what these guys have overcome because I know how hard the game is, Dennis. The game is extremely hard. And for Cam Smith to win last week and his driving, that's the Achilles for him, his driver. And somehow he hit enough fairways. He almost didn't get it done on the last hole. I mean, he drove it. He lost it in Memphis driving it in trouble on a same type of hole. But, he overcomes his inadequacies off the tee. And when he putted like he did, it's hard to beat him.
That's why I keep telling people, you could hit it 300 yards, but it's all about the second shot. It's all about the scoring part of the game, which I call, which is a short game. And you're absolutely right. Mark, given all of the golf-related information that's available today, CDs, books, magazines, online lessons, etc. My question to you, Mr. Lye, is why aren't golfers getting much better?
I think they're getting bogged down by what they can realistically do and the suggestion that they can do other things. I think a teacher has to recognize what the capabilities are of his patients or pupils. He may try to change them in a way that they can't replicate the swing.
Right.
And so I look at a guy like Lee Trevino, and I look at a guy, that made his own rules. I look at a guy like Hal Sutton, never a power player, but used the Jimmy Ballard method that really worked well for him. Would that method work for Tiger? Hell no.
No.
So I think what you have to do as a player is recognize what works for you and what you can repeat, because that teacher or the guy that's writing the book that you're reading doesn't know you. So you have to siphon out on, say, if you go to a teacher like Butch Harmon, hey, you know something, Butch? I'm never going to swing like Tiger Woods. I'm going to swing like me. So how can I get by with what I do? And that's what I did. I went to every great teacher out there in my formative years of playing the tour. First was John Geertsen. Okay. teach me, get me through college. Then I went to everybody under the sun just to see what they had to say. I even went to Jack Grout. Can you
Really?
believe that? I made a special trip to go to Columbus, Ohio to seek out Jack Grout, just to have him look at me. I've gone to David Ledbetter before he was David Ledbetter. I love David like my brother.
Yeah, Led's a great guy.
He couldn't, if I went to him, I would have never made a dime on the PGA Tour. Every time I went to see him, it was like 3 cuts in a row. I'd miss, and I'd say, David, I can't do this stuff, you know? So, but there are other guys that loved him. Like Dennis Watson was a guy that flat loved him.
Love Dennis. Love
Faldo
Dennis.
loved him.
Yeah.
Some
yeah.
other guys, you know, lead poisoning. Yeah, I got lead poisoning from
Yeah,
Dave
yeah.
Ledbetter. We talk about it all the time. But there are guys that, like Rick Smith, very unsung guy. Jim Ballard. Oh, my
Right,
gosh.
right.
That's how his people, I never took a lesson from Jimmy, but I took a lesson from 2 or 3 of his guys. One was a guy named John Rhodes, and another was Del Stark. They taught me the proper way to hit a golf ball. For me, okay? And Peter Jacobson was right there with me. Now he's with, you know, the one playing guy, Hardy and Chris O'Connell and all those guys. But, you know, there are things that you can do and you can duplicate, judging by your body style and judging by, you know, your mind. Can you do this? When I became a better player on the tour in the late 80s, I finally figured out how to not hit it left. That's what I did. And when I started eliminating one side of the golf course, that's when I became a much better player, and I understood what I could do.
That and I agree with you, and that's very well said. But let me throw this back in your face, and let me get your answer to this. Why then, after you said all of this, there have been developed so many different damn swing philosophies, Mark? Whether it's 1 plane, 2 plane, flat, whatever, all having the same purpose in mind, and that is to deliver the club face squarely to the ball. So why the hell are there so many swing philosophies going on? And what do you do to pick the right one?
Again, you have to look at body type. You know, you look at Ian Woosnam and you compare him to Tom Weiskopf. If they're making the same swing, I'm a jet pilot. You just can't do it. And then again, it's what your body style is. Like Ernie Els, man, I wish I was built like him. He's a Mack truck.
Yeah.
But I'm more of a Formula One car. I couldn't no more swing like Ernie Els than Ian Woosnam could. So you have to figure out what works for you. I'm tall and lanky, but I have a short swing. That's what worked for me. Dan Pohl was my roommate back in the 80s, and he had a short, powerful swing. And to me, it's like a Rahm action.
Yeah.
You know, nobody taught John Rahm that way to play.
No.
I don't think. It's just like what he could do.
Right.
So you have to figure out what's best for you. We all want to be pretty, right, Dennis? We all want to look great. We want to have the Adam Scott swing, but people just can't do that. You can't manufacture it, because it becomes unrepeatable if it's not part of
That's right. It's got to be in your DNA, Mark. It's got to be in
Correct.
your DNA. I don't care what they say. Best ball striker you think you've played with?
Wow. I played with a lot of them.
You've played with a lot of great players, Mark.
I would say Lee Trevino was hard to beat. Tee to green, and I caddied in his group a couple of times at the Kaiser Open. For some reason, I think I was caddying for George Archer, and then I worked for Chi-Chi one time, and we got paired with Lee Trevino. This is back in the early middle 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy hardly ever hit a foul ball. I mean, and that to me was pretty strong. Now, did he have the prettiest swing in the world? Hell no. I mean, he didn't. Another guy that doesn't get a lot of credit out there is Frank Urban Zeller. Frank Urban Zeller. Fuzzy was a ball-hitting Jesse.
Really?
He was great. And I got to go back to Greg Norman. I think a guy that probably got the most out of his game ever, and he actually didn't become a great ball striker until much later in his career, and that's Tom Watson. how this guy got it done like Jordan Spieth. I mean, he made everything. He chipped everything. Jordan Spieth was the same way, and then Watson became a fantastic ball striker later in life. Then there was another guy. You may or may not have ever heard of Sergeant Moody.
Oh,
Orville
yeah.
Moody.
Oh, yeah. Sarge?
This guy was a great ball striker.
Interesting.
Couldn't putt a lick.
Really?
But he did go from the PGA Tour to the Champions Tour, and he became from the worst putter in the world to the best putter on the Champions Tour by using that Slim Jim thing.
Yeah,
He and Charles Owens and all those other guys were using out there back in the day.
Interesting. And a lot of those guys wish that they could have that back. Anyway, we're going to step away again, take a short break, come back. We're going to have a lot more with Mr. Lye, Mark Lye, on this St. Paddy's Day. So stay with us. We are returning, promise, right after this. Hey golfers, I've been a golf talk show host for a long time, and I've been playing golf even longer. Being in golf media, I've had the chance to play every ball ever made. I've tried them all. Well, my search is finally over because I found the best ball I have ever played with, and more golfers are finding the same thing. I started playing with the Elixir golf ball made by Encore Golf. Encore Golf has revolutionized both their golf balls, the Elixir or the Avant 55, or the brand new Vero X1, to where the performance of either will simply blow you away. It did me. If you're looking for better performance and durability with your ball, Encore Golf has it. Don't just take my word for it. Check them out at EncoreGolf.com and you'll become convinced, as I am, the first time you tee it up with Encore. It's the best performing ball for the price. Go to EncoreGolf.com and see for yourself. Your scores will love you for it. That's ONCORE Golf.com.
Experience a salon like no other. Charm Beauty Lounge specializes in hair, skin, and a non-surgical, painless way to fuller hair, designed to boost hair volume up to 400% without glue or solvents. Make your appointment today. Call 702-201-1655.
Hey beautiful, come on in. Charm Beauty Lounge. Charm Beauty Lounge.
We're having a great conversation with 18-year veteran of the PGA Tour, Mr. Mark Lye, who is in the Sunshine State of Florida. And Mark, I wanted to ask you, if you had a choice of these two things, which one would you pick? Either having great swing mechanics or a great mental game with course management. Both are important.
No question. It's mental acuity and strategy. I've seen a lot of players over the days say, I look at this guy and I say, how can this guy miss? You got to have a brain out there. And any great player will tell you, I mean, Hale Irwin, I mean, he wasn't the best swinger of the golf club in the world. And he was one of the most prolific winners, ever. And he didn't do it from brute strength or swing mechanics. He did it because he had power of his mind. And same with Jack. And same with Tiger.
Yeah.
I mean, Tiger has gone through, 4 different, completely different swings. And I think it's the mental side that often gets overlooked. And in fact, I have both of my kids seeing a mental coach right now to complement their playing skills. I just think it's that important.
It is. Would I know the guy that your kids are saying?
Her name is Shannon Reese, and
Okay.
she's locally here in Southwest Florida.
Okay.
And I used to go to a guy named Chuck Hogan.
Yeah, Chuck Hogan.
Chuck Hogan Sports Enhancement up in
Yeah.
Sedona.
Yeah.
He was the best.
Yeah. Okay. It's obviously very important. Do you think it was there was a lot of justification in Mickelson getting beat up as badly as he did?
Look,
Because
I'll be the first.
You know, Phil, I've talked about it extensively, with a number of golf pundits, industry people.
Right.
Uh, it just, I don't know. You hear this from this one, you hear this from that one. I don't know. What's your thoughts?
Look, my take on it, Dennis, is look, nobody's perfect, and Phil definitely isn't, and neither am I, and probably you aren't either, even though I don't know you that well.
No, I am
I'm sure
perfect,
you
Mark.
look
I
in the
am
mirror.
pretty damn perfect. Okay.
Yeah, I know. You
Yeah.
said you were going to beat me when you came down here, so
I
I'll give you
haven't
that
been
as
down
the
there
perfect
yet. Just
person
okay.
right there.
Yeah.
Okay, but look, Phil has always been an outspoken guy,
Yeah.
at least lately, and his mouth got a little bit in front of him. He talks about, well, will I have room for my U.S. Open trophy alongside the Wanamaker trophy? I mean, come on,
Yeah.
don't say stuff like that. But Phil is. I don't think that was all very fair. Although I do have been burned by writers before. I don't know Allen, who came out with that stuff about these guys can kill you if they want to. I mean, man, if you say that, it's one thing, but if you print it, that's another thing. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
that puts his life in danger. But I gotta take somewhat Phil's side a little bit. And look, I've been a PGA Tour member since 1977, and I'm proud to carry my player's card with me every step that I take. But look, the PGA Tour hasn't been all saints in this whole thing.
No,
You
no,
know,
not at all.
my whole thing with them is it gives me a really bad feeling when they say that they're gonna, if you consider going to this tour and you're in bed with that tour over there, the PGL, the Premier Golf League, then you will be suspended from this tour indefinitely. I think that sends a bad message. I think it's like this is the world of competition, and yeah, it will hurt our brand over here if you go over there, Phil Mickelson or John Rahm or Adam Scott or Justin Rose, all guys that I think have a right to go over there. Jason Kokrak is another guy. Hey, if it's going to mean this, look, the purse they played for last week, that's what they're going to be doing over there. The purse they played for at the Players Championship, that's what they're going to be playing for overseas every week.
Every week, and Mark, there's no cut. It's a 3-day event. What is it? 24 events or something, and they're playing some here in the United States. So to me, that's a real big slap in the face to Commissioner Monahan. So.
And look, I like Jay, but I just think it's bad how I just see this piling on with Phil Mickelson. I just, he's been a great guy on that tour. They have used him hugely for 31 years.
Yeah.
In fact, when he won, I was playing in the Tucson Open that he won as an amateur. He was making eights back then. They made an 8 on a par 5 and then made a couple birdies coming in to take it from, I think, Tom Purtzer. Birdie last hole. That's typical Phil. But look, hasn't he earned the right to do what he wants when he wants? He's 51 years old.
I think so.
I think so, yeah. And don't scorn him just because you don't agree with him, and don't have everybody else writing nasty letters and tweeting and all this stuff. Look, it just is not fair, but I understand the tour's point. They are like mother hens guarding their chicks.
Oh, yeah.
They just want to hey, come on. And this PIP thing, give me a break. That
is the most ridiculous thing ever conceived in the world of golf. And number two, these guys are independent contractors. I think they should be free to play where they want to without any retaliation from the tour. And like I say, I think this thing's gonna end up in court. But were you surprised that the number of haters that came out against Phil? With the comments that they were getting on Facebook and other places. I mean, they really thought all along and for a long time that this guy was a walking a-hole, okay?
Yeah, are you talking about Phil or are you talking about Greg?
Phil.
Okay, well, Phil and Greg. But I just think that there are a lot of people out there that maybe they didn't cover the right side of this. The squeaky wheel gets the most oil, right?
You're right.
So they were getting it, and there were some other people in there, I'm sure, that were afraid to speak up.
Sure.
Like me.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I would never come on the show like that, but I would say a point counterpoint type of thing. It makes for good radio and good TV.
Totally.
But if you were on the other side of that, the wrong side, social media would have your butt. And I've been a victim of that, and I've been near the hate, but there are some other people that are conspicuously silent. Now, look, the Greg Norman thing too. I think they're vilifying him.
Big time.
He had a great idea way back in the day that Tim Finchem absolutely stole from him.
Yeah.
The World Tour, the World Golf Championship events.
Good point.
And it was his
point.
idea. And they came out and they took Greg's deal, and I think he's had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, rightfully so.
Yep.
And these other people, hey, look, it's like, let the best league win. Let's see how it plays out. If it doesn't work, let the guys back. Let them try it out. I mean, that's my thoughts, because everybody's in a different situation, Dennis.
I agree, Mark. I agree with you. I agree with your impressions. A couple of other things before we get you going. I, for one, and I know I'm probably in a majority, I am so sick of hearing all of this garbage about Tiger Woods, how he's going to make an incredible comeback, start winning majors, start winning tournaments. And I say to that, baloney. Where am I going wrong?
Well, don't make a bet against him, please. I mean, I've been wrong on this guy so much. What he has done is just flat incredible. This, however, is just too tall of an order. Because at age 46 or whatever, there are so many young guys behind him that actually aren't afraid of him.
Right.
One of them's Justin Thomas, and you tell me that John Rahm's afraid of him. You telling me that, look. And so there are some guys that are maybe not as tough as Tiger was in his prime, but Tiger is far from his prime.
Right.
And, if he were able to squeak out another couple of wins, I see it. Could be, but I doubt it. I honestly doubt it unless he plays in some weak field events. Now, is he going to come back out and win the Masters? I think the last one he won was a total gift from God. I mean, you'd start looking at guys that knocked it in the water. I was out there following these guys.
Yeah.
And I said, this is the perfect storm right now.
Yeah.
Koepka knocking it in the water. Finau knocking it in the water. Poulter knocking it in the water. Molinari knocking it in the water. Tiger getting a great lie on the 11th. He hit it right of right, had a perfect lie over there between the trees and, I don't know, the 15th green or 17th. I forget which hole it is over there. But anyway, Tiger got the benefit of a lot of things. And
totally.
It was really a perfect storm for him.
He hasn't played competitively for a long time, Mark. You know that. He's got to start walking 18 holes, start practicing, and this is going to be a lot.
It's going to be a lot, but it's been a lot every time. I mean, the U.S. Open that he won at Torrey Pines.
Yeah, that's true.
How do you feel if you're Rocco Media? The guy beat you.
I know, with a broken leg. I know that's going to be incredible.
I don't know. I think the jury's still out on that, and we'll see if he. I guess he's not going to play in the Masters, which I would have felt he would be ready for, but it must be pretty severe what he's going through.
And very, very, very fortunate individual. All right, last question. Is your wife getting sick of you being at home already and just playing golf and getting on her nerves, or what? What's Mark Lye going to do in the future, or does he know?
Well, I think I'm throwing my golf spikes away. As far as the announcing goes, unless some weird thing happens in the next, year or so. I had 18 years of TV, 7 years of radio, 18 years of playing on the tour, 2 years of playing international golf. My kids are 15 and 17 now, and they really love the game. So a radio gig or something along those lines, or TV's out. I don't like TV anymore because I did it for 18 years. It's an incestuous world out there. I mean, it's people clawing at your back, and I will tell you this: my SiriusXM job, when I lost that one really hurt, because I said something that was offensive to I guess maybe the WNBA players of the world that watch our show or that listen to our show, and for that I got canceled. It was totally in line with the topic that we were talking about. But I will miss being on the pregame and the postgame. I canceled my other show myself, which was called Time to Let It Fly. You know why I did that?
No.
That was running for 6.5, 7 years. And my boss told me, he says, time to let it fly, the things I could never say on TV. Well, I said, look, the climate isn't right now for me to let it fly anymore. I can't say what I really want to say.
Right.
So stick me on the weekends where I do pregame and postgame.
Right.
I'll be the analyst and do well in that role.
Right.
And I think it upset them that I, took the liberty of canceling my own show. And then when I got out of line just a little bit, I think the Twitter world demanded my head on a platter, and they got it. And
I got to tell you, Mark, not because you're on, but it was ridiculous. You got short shafted there. It was the most ridiculous thing I heard of when I read about that. Never should have happened. I agreed with your position as far as women's sports in general, including the LPGA, and I think you got screwed. That's my look at it.
The problem that I had was that I was actually talking about how much I liked the LPGA in the last 10 years because Mike Wan, when he came to work for them,
he's doing a good job.
Fantastic job.
Yeah.
Rebranding. Remember it was the Asian contagion.
Right.
Nobody wanted to go watch, but they started learning how to entertain sponsors. This turned into a worldwide tour. That day that I was on the show, Dennis, my wife and my daughter were out there watching the Drive On Championship on Saturday. It was a final round. Nelly Korda had an 8 under after 16 holes. My daughter was out there following her. And so I said, this tour is a credit to women's sports, okay? Now, if you want to make me watch women's basketball or the WNBA, you'd have to put a gun to my head. And that's what got me fired.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with saying that. I mean, it just absolutely. You honestly don't believe in your heart, Mark, that the Asians aren't going to continue to dominate the LPGA Tour. The Americans are never going to dominate that tour again. You agree with me?
Well, there may be the player or so like Nelly Korda, but if she beats Jin Young Ko every week, that's good on Nelly. But no, I totally agree. But not only that, we're seeing some great players from all over the world. Okay, Nana Kurtz-Madsen just won. I mean, is she going to be a world beater? Probably not. This Maguire, this Leona Maguire. We don't own the game. The Oriental, the Asians. See, and if I said Oriental, that's probably a racial slur, right? I'm sorry. I meant.
We're going to have to edit that out.
But Asians, they're just going to be a factor, just like they are on the American men's team.
No doubt.
It's going to happen. The Sun JMs of the world are just going to be part of the game regardless. And we don't own it. The American girls, the ladies, don't own the LPGA.
That's so true. Not anymore.
And we don't own the PGA Tour as Americans either.
Not anymore. Anyway, I just got a text from your wife, Lisa, say, that's enough. Let him go. I've got some things for him to do and this and that. Mark, I can't tell you how enjoyable this was. I want to give you a call and have you on again pretty damn soon because I want to talk about your music. I want to talk about the stuff you did with Peter Jacobson and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I really appreciate your time. And I will let you know when I'm coming to Naples. Start hitting some balls because I'm going to kick your ass, my friend.
Talk is cheap, my friend.
That's very true. That's very true. Thank you for coming on.
Behind the scenes.
I'll be in touch soon. Thank you, Mark.
Okay.
All right. Mark Lye, everybody. We're going to step away, take our last break, come back, and we'll finish up the show right after this.
As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence, AI, has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
Innovation begins at a single point. Elements, each with their unique character. Fire-forged steel creates unprecedented control. Chemistry delivers a touch so soft, combined to create a level of performance previously unimagined. Like magic, the Elixir, the new tour ball from Encore.
All right, we want to thank you for being with us for great show with Mark Lye. Don't forget to catch us on, of course, Facebook and YouTube and Spotify and all the other platforms that you can. Give us a like, and share the shows and stuff. We really appreciate it. And of course, we come to you from the great Rigel Studios right here in the heart of Las Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world. So we're going to look for you at same place, same time next week, and have another great show for you. So until then, so long, everybody.